Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's my name's Mike Piroworski coming from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most from the co-host with the most here on the Rundown. 2A views, conservative news, and I got a little LED flickering over here, Craig. I get the panel LEDs, and one of them there's going. It's driving me nuts.
That's probably because it's hump day.
Because it's
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's hump day.
Hump day.
It's hump day.
Hump day.
That's right, folks. Today is hump day. This is the day in which we attempt to begin the weekend, sometimes with success, sometimes not. But as we like to say, the fun is all in the trying. How is your weekend going thus far, sir?
something. Doing all right. Here in his day, up in the studio, having a good time.
You know, I got to tell you, I am still working, so I have not technically been able to begin the weekend yet. But work is flowing so smooth. It's almost like the weekend. Got that energy drink going over there.
Energy would bite. It's venom. 99-cent energy drink, baby. Can't beat it.
There you go. Gotta have that energy, you know.
Yep.
I will tell you, I have found that sometimes, especially on a long day, and a quick energy drink to get that boost, just to get you over that last little hump on the day.
So I'll tell you this. I opened this up this morning with some toast. Well, I didn't use toast to open it. I ate toast with it. But,
Okay.
It's probably still got that much. It'll take me a day and a half to drink this.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, one of those is like 3 cups of coffee.
Oh, is that it? Is that true? It's just too sweet. Even when I have the sugar-free ones, which this one's not, which is unusual, but I just something cold, something good. Like a couple sips, I'm good to go.
Well, when they first came out, I really wasn't into energy drinks, and then someone introduced me to this thing called a vodka Red Bull. You know, now the downside to it is this: you have to be very, very careful, because what happens is the energy drink kind of helps offset the effects of the alcohol. The problem is that the energy drink wears off before the alcohol does.
It's called the Blackout Chronicles. That's
Blackout Chronicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, a good friend of mine. I have never experienced that, but a good friend of mine did. His bachelor party, and it was well, let's just say it hit like boom.
You're saying you've never experienced them.
Not from vodka Red Bull.
Okay.
Not from vodka Red Bull. Other than that, I plead the fifth. Senator, I have no recollection. Literally.
Yeah, I got pictures. You want me to post them?
No. Yeah, just so you know, you don't have pictures. Drunk Mike has pictures.
Yeah, but he puts them on my phone for me. They're like clues the next day for the games we play. Where were we? Whose pants are these? That kind of stuff, you know.
For those of you who are wondering what we have this. No, I'm not going to say the idea, because someone might steal our idea. So I'm not even going to talk about it. It's a great idea for a show, though. I have to tell you, I personally think it is. At least we do. We talk about it every time we hang out.
That's right. Good stuff.
One day we'll actually get it going. If we got any seed investors out there who are interested in a cool show known as the Blackout Chronicles, hit us up. Instant messages. Let us know. Maybe we'll let you buy in on the project.
There you go. Reality based, so you know it's a hit. You know.
There you go. Reality TV sells, folks.
That's
Not
it.
saying, just saying.
Just saying. Yeah.
All right, enough chitty chat. Let's get into the program. And as we do every show, we start off with a quick shout out to our sponsors.
That's right. Let's say hello to our good friends at Hitman Industries. Had lunch with these guys yesterday, as a matter of fact. HitmanIndustries.net. If you want to sell an AR barrel, best in the business, AR calibers, rifle calibers, pistol calibers, anything like you desire, it's hitmanindustries.net. California Republic Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market, get on over to hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com, hogholsters.com. The discount code The Rundown, it's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, whatever it may be, get your group together, get your agency together, make an order over at uscombatgear.com, where you can get everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment, visit our sponsors. Let them know how much you appreciate all that they do. Let them know that you appreciate the products that they have available for you to sell and all that fun stuff. Yeah, go ahead and hit them up and spend some money with them and let them know it was the guys over at the Rundown that sent you.
That's us.
Also, if you're watching the program live, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, we are taking your comments on Facebook, on YouTube, on Rumble. We're not on Twitter live. We'll be on Twitter in the next hour. We'll be on Twitter. But anyway, all that having been said, go ahead, leave us your comments. We would love to hear what you have to say. We'd love to hear what you think about the show and where you're watching us from. So go ahead, give us a little chitty chat. Right?
There you go.
All right. Let's get into today's stories. All right, we're going to start off today. We're going to be talking about what is going on in Ukraine. This is a big deal. So you may have heard about the drone strikes that took place in Ukraine. So basically what happened was Ukraine basically went and let's just say they got some like regular old, like store-bought drones. They put some explosives on them, and then they went and they sent them. They put them in crates. They put them on a, and then they sent those crates and those trucks into Russia, and unloaded the crates. The crates then, how shall we say? The crates then were opened up, and out of them flew hundreds of drones, and those drones then proceeded to fly all over the place. Well, not all over the place. They basically went to air bases, and they wound up bombing, for lack of a better term. They wound up bombing some of the airplanes there, or the bombers there for Russia, and basically they spent several $1,000s to basically destroy several $100 million worth of aircraft, and we have some newly released footage to show you. Check it out. Anyway, folks, that was some fun stuff. There is more footage. It's like a 4-minute long video. I'm assuming that y'all didn't want us to play the entire video during the show, but what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm copying the link right now, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it into the comments so that you will get a chance to check it out. Mike, would love to get your thoughts as our resident military expert. Would love to hear your thoughts on the whole drone footage.
The old bomb the bomber Trojan horse drone trick, Craig. I love it. Listen, you can play that video for every opening for our show for the rest of the year, and I'd be all right with that. That's great stuff right there. That's That's nerds with bombs. That's what that is. That's what you got going on there. That's great stuff. Nice to see. Nice to see Ukraine taking it to them. You want to keep up this fight. You want to. We after all the nonsense Zelensky went through with Trump and finally got him to say, okay, we're ready to sit down. And now Russia wants to play hardball. They got something for you, ass. That's what they got. That's what they got.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, in any case, this is a war that, quite frankly, it's kind of hard. I have to admit, it's kind of hard because I get it. Putin started this. He decided to invade.
Yeah.
I think the problem though is that when we decided to get in, and then I think it was right for us to get in there and help Ukraine. But the problem is, as we got in, we didn't get in with a plan. We have no idea what quote unquote victory is, and now we've got Zelensky all gassed up, thinking, well, we're going to take back every bit of land they ever took from us, including what they took from us under Obama, and we never really clarified to say, yeah, no, that I don't know that that's going to be the thing, or at least we never said that was the thing. And
Well,
so
I
now,
don't think it's so much we didn't get that information from them and repeat it. I don't think Zelensky and the Ukraine knew what they wanted. I
no.
think they just wanted keep sending us checks, baby. That's what they wanted.
Well, and we got them all gassed up thinking they could do that. I think you're right. I think going into it, they just wanted Russia back out. And now the idea is, how do we find a reasonable off ramp? We have Portia Stewart commented here, and she says, as I've said from the beginning, Zelensky and Biden escalated and started this war.
Yep.
Instead of President chastising Putin, he needs to come out and unequivocally denounce Zelensky because he is an illegal president. Okay, I got to say, Portia, I have to disagree with you because how did Zelensky start the war when it was Russia who invaded Ukraine? Now, the war could have been ended by now if Zelensky had just decided, look, we just want to get them out. At least go back to when you invaded this time. It made it very clear that's what victory was. At this point, it's continuing to go on because Zelensky has an unrealistic expectation of what victory is. And I blame the Biden administration for giving him that unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, there's 10 levels to Sunday, how corrupt the Biden and Zelensky relationship was and the Ukraine relationship. So, what's the real backstory on that? We may never know, but clear now that the current administration has one goal, and that's for people to stop dying. And currently it's Russia is sitting over there saying, we're not playing with the peace talks.
Well, exactly. And right now, Russia is the one. I mean, because at this point, Zelensky's every time, after getting kicked out of the White House, every time Trump says jump, Zelensky jumps. So clearly he's ready for some sort of an off ramp. Yeah. I don't know that Putin's the one who's like refusing to sit down and negotiate, refusing to sit down and have a conversation. So I don't know. I mean, Portia, I got to disagree with you right now. And here's the thing. What incentive does Putin have? Because what he's noticed is so far, America hasn't really been there to support Ukraine the way they need to be supported. I mean, even the stuff we sent them, we slow rolled it. If we had sent it to them when they needed it, this war probably would have been over by now.
But they had to slow roll it, Craig, because that's how they kept the money flowing. By not giving them enough to win decisively and just enough to stay in it means that military industrial complex, all of those people in the Biden pockets still get to make the money.
Right. Portia commented again. It says the Minsk agreements and the Budapest memorandum, no NATO membership for Ukraine as a condition of their sovereignty. Research it and get back to me. Well, the U.S. has already said, yeah, we agree to those things. And now Ukraine they haven't said no to it because there hasn't been a conversation about it. They haven't sat down and had any conversations about it.
Yeah, I think that's stuff. I mean, that we knew. I was just.
Well, and I think what Portia's alluding to is she's saying, well, in those agreements, they had already agreed that they would not be a part of NATO. But let's be honest, if just being part of NATO is an act of war, I'm sorry, but no, they didn't start it. No foreign nation can dictate to another nation the associations that they can have. And if they decided that they wanted to look into being a part of NATO, then they get to look into that. And if you decide you're going to go ahead and invade, that doesn't give you a right to invade just because they want to be a part of NATO.
Right.
That's not starting a war. That's like saying, well,
I mean, it depends on how you view it.
well, it's like
Listen,
saying,
what if
it's
Ukraine
like
goes
saying,
right up to the border and starts swinging their fists?
right. If you
Does
say
Russia
you're
do
going to
anything
be
back?
friends with that guy, if you say you're going to be friends with that guy, I'm going to come over there. I'm going to punch you in the face. I'm
That's how
sorry,
we
but
got into war with Germany.
well,
We were
no,
attacked. That's how
well,
we got
we
into
were
war with Germany.
attacked. It took us exactly. It took us being attacked.
So, yeah, but who'd we get attacked by?
Oh, by Japan.
Got attacked by Japan. We declared war on Japan. The next day, Germany declared war on us because of their treaty. Treaties
Right,
work like that.
right. But my issue though here is I don't know how Ukraine started the war. Those are Portia's words. Started the war when um, it was Russia who invaded.
Yeah, I don't think uh, Ukraine started the war, but
Yeah.
again, there's only so much you could do too. You like I said,
Yes.
you walk up and you start, egging on the bully. He's going to punch you.
Well, oh, most definitely. Now, I agree. When they started having the talks, they probably Ukraine probably should have seen it coming. And by the
Yep.
way, that also meant that the Biden administration should have saw it coming.
Yep.
Anyway,
Absolutely. Well, they
uh,
did. They
I
saw the cash cow coming.
yeah,
Is what they
I
saw.
I will continue to say that had Trump been president, and I agree with him, that would not have happened because Putin would have because Putin was not willing to mess with Trump. And I still believe he's not willing to mess with Trump. If Trump were to say, look, tell you what, forget it. We're going all in, give Ukraine whatever bombs and weapons they want. Hey, heck, let's send troops. I'm not saying that. If Trump said that, Russia would be to the table in a minute.
Sure. That's one thing Russia has. That's low tech.
They are very, very, very low tech, very, very low tech. Um, by the way, and a lot of this has to do with our relationship with Europe. And as we know right now, our relationship with Europe is slightly tenuous, as is exemplified by the whole issue we're dealing with right now when it comes to drug prices. A lot of people may not know this, but European countries, in particular socialist countries, other countries, let's put it that way, they pay a lot less for American pharmaceuticals than we do here in the United States. And that's largely because in these socialist countries, they tell the companies how much they're going to pay, and the companies either take it or they don't. Here in the United States, what we've decided is, well, because we understand that a lot of research and development goes into the creation or the invention of pharmaceuticals, and there's a whole lot of money that's spent on research and development that doesn't pan out, and so they have to recapture that. Well, we wind up doing what we call paying market prices here in the United States. Well, as a result, it means that as a part of paying those market prices, we wind up actually subsidizing foreign countries, including Europe, when it comes to their pharmaceutical prices. And so Donald Trump has said, you know what? We're tired of carrying the world. Just like we're tired of carrying the world when it comes to NATO and paying for all of Europe's national defense, we're tired of paying for your pharmaceuticals. And so Trump has called out Europe for free riding on drugs and saying that Europe will pay their fair share. Here it says, reporting from Breitbart, it says in his executive order released last month, President Trump called out Europe for free riding, more like freeloading, but free riding on American medicines. Europe sets socialist price controls on imported American drugs. Quote, American patients are effectively subsidizing socialist healthcare systems in Germany in all of Europe, in all the European Union, said President Trump. They were nasty, and I see that. European Union is in many ways nastier than China. And we've just started with them. They'll come down a lot. You watch. We'll have all the cards. And so what he's looking to do here, Mike, is he's basically saying, we're only going to pay what European countries are paying for drug prices. And really, in reality, while I like the sentiment, making sure that everybody's paying their fair share, what he ought to be doing is instead of making us pay less, he ought to be requiring that Europeans pay more so that our prices come down, so that we're all paying about the same amount. Because if you make it such that we're paying the same thing that the Europeans are paying, then you're never going to cover the cost of creating the medicine.
Yeah, and that's what they're asking for. That's what he's demanding of Europe. And folks, just so you understand, like you make it a new pill comes out. New pill comes out, and that pill, the production line on that pill costs $5 a pill to make. All right. Well, it took $1 billion to develop that pill. And this is just the bad business. This is what happens when you don't have a businessman in politics, right? So the bad businessman says, "Oh, how much is that pill? It's $5. Well, let's sell it to Europe for $5. Hello, it took us $1 billion to make it. We've got to buy down what we put into it. So it can't be $5 a piece. We need to make it $10 a piece for the first 5 years to get back what we've got into it just to break free. Then after that, when we bring it down for us, we can bring it down for everybody else. So he's not asking for 1,000% increase. I think he's asking for a 20% increase on drugs that we export to Europe, because again, I think it's something like 90% of all pharmaceuticals are created and developed in this country, and then we just send them elsewhere.
All right, we may have to add Portia as a co-host because she's got some good points here. One of the things she points out is now she says, so far as pharmaceuticals, our government uses taxpayer dollars to fund R&D. In some cases, not in all cases, not in most cases, do government dollars go to pay for R&D. But in some cases, they do. In some significant cases, they do. Where the real money goes into the pharmaceuticals, not just in research and development. Well, research and development, in a lot of cases, it's money that's spent and nothing pans out. In other words, they keep trying stuff and it keeps failing, because that's how inventions go. You fail a lot more than you succeed. But then the other part of it is a lot of money goes into marketing. A whole lot of money goes into marketing. In fact, here in the United States, the pharmaceutical companies are the number one spenders of money when it comes to marketing and advertising on television.
You remember, to be fair, right? The $5 drug that it costs to create here, we should be able to sell for 10 and make our money back. Well, you're right. Now you got the marketing aspect of it. I mean, how many drug commercials I have to watch on TV? And don't forget the insurance industry, health insurance industry. Mm-hmm. Well, we want to pay doctors $5 million a year, so we got to charge $1,000 for the drug. Everybody's making their nut off of it. But if we were all doing what we should be doing, keeping it, at 10 or 20% over cost, that way we can make back our investment into it, our product development investment into it, it would be much more fair system. And again, we got a businessman in office now, so he knows what he's talking about.
There you go. And by the way, Portia, yeah, I see you posted here a link to an interview between Oliver Stone and Putin. And I'm like, yeah, first of all, I don't believe anything that comes out of Putin's mouth. Number one, he is an expert liar or a fabricator of truths, but I will watch the interview because I'm quite sure that is entertaining, as are most interviews with Putin.
Yeah. Number two, I don't believe anything that comes out of Oliver Stone's mouth.
That was the other one that was the other one I was going to say. I forgot about that one, but that was the other one. I don't believe anything that comes out of Oliver Stone's mouth. But nice try, Portia. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the interaction. Like I said, we may have to make her a co-producer, or maybe get her on as a co-host one day. She's doing a bang-up job. All right, permitless carry blamed in murder case. Now, we all know it's one thing to blame guns, and then now it's like in an actual case, now they're going to blame gun laws, right? That's exactly what you have going on here. And this is a piece written by Cam Edwards over at Bearing Arms. And he points out here where a defense attorney actually blames permitless carry laws for clients' alleged crimes. It says here, the attorney representing a man accused of murder in Mobile, Alabama, is pinning the blame for the shooting on the state's permitless carry law that went into effect 2.5 years ago. And I'll read a little bit from the thing here. It says, Chase Dearman, the attorney representing Sanders, said the fact that his client had carried a gun on himself and into the theater was a practice that that is allowable under Alabama law. Sanders, Dearman said, had a clean criminal record prior to Sunday's shooting. Quote, I have no idea why our laws allow people to walk around with guns in their pocket, but it's not illegal, Dearman said. Everyone can carry a gun if they want. Asked if his client should have engaged in better conflict resolution, Dearman responded by saying the state lawmakers ought to make better gun laws. I'm trying to figure this out, dude. It's like, how do you get away with actually blaming the laws? Um, as far as I know, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but the laws didn't take the gun out of the guy's pocket and make him shoot a guy he was having an argument with.
Exactly right. This is just a defense attorney who's got nothing left. What do they say? If you've got the law on your side, you pound the law. If you've got the facts on your side, pound the facts. And if you don't have them, just pound the table. So that's what he's doing. He's pounding the table and he's making noise. He does not have the facts, does not have the law on his side. So he's got to throw blame somewhere else, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah, that's it right there. But that's the mentality that a lot of people have. It's like they think that, well, if someone is allowed to carry a firearm, well, then they're just going to go and shoot people. And you know what? I'm not going to say that there are not people out there who will do that, but guess what? Those are the same people that if they had a knife on them, they would stab them. If they had a bat, they would swing the bat and they would hit them. The problem is not the gun. The problem is the people and the belief that violence is the answer to everything. I'm not saying violence is never the answer. It's rarely the first answer, but sometimes it is the answer. And if you're going to have to engage in violence, you might as well be prepared to do it right.
Yeah. Remember, legal concealed carriers, carry gun holders, are the least likely to commit a crime with the firearm, even less so than police. It's less than 1%, whereas police is about 1.5%.
Yes.
Now, I know
Yeah.
that's a statistical anomaly, but it's still true.
Oh, it is most definitely true because, we have to go through a lot of training and ongoing training to know and understand use of force law, to demonstrate,
For
we have an
you,
understanding.
for for
Right.
for you, for the 27, 29 other states, depending on how you want to define it, the permitless carry. Craig, Alabama's got no requirement for that now. And guess what?
Right.
The crime rates have not gone up for concealed carriers carrying firearms.
Well, I think most people who are carrying a firearm they understand that any altercation that they get into has a greater risk of having a more serious consequences. And if they are a reasonable, rational adult, they understand that once you draw that firearm, all bets are off, and
Yep.
it's going to have a serious consequence. Even if you never even fire the firearm, there's consequences. There's stuff you're going to have to deal with. There's legal ramifications, civil and criminal. And I think most adults are most responsible citizens who are going to go through the process of legally carrying. They're going to think twice before they do that. And evidence has shown that that's the case. Most of the firearms used in crime, even in shootings like this, are usually not even really owned. They're not even usually the property of the person who used them in the crime.
That's correct. You're correct, sir.
Yeah, fun stuff though. It's I don't think that this one is going to sail because there's going to be tons of information out there about, like you said, the millions of people who legally carry firearms and don't shoot people because they got into an argument.
That's right.
Funny how that
Exactly right.
works.
They
I
understand. They understand their Second Amendment rights.
Mhm.
They are very responsible, and they understand the the consequences of their actions.
I have I have been carrying a firearm every day for what would that be now? 14, 15 years and never had to shoot anybody.
I think I started carrying mine when I was 14 or 15 years
Yeah.
old. But
Mhm.
uh, listen, we know with great power comes great responsibility.
Right. By the way, let me be very, very clear. I'm not saying I never wanted to shoot somebody. Just I knew better.
Sometimes people need a good shooting.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes people just deserve a hot one.
That's it.
Doesn't mean they're going to get it. Not for me.
Give him a hot one, Craig. Go ahead.
I ain't going to look. Hold on, let me make sure my insurance is paid up. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, let's get on to our next story. Now, this one's disappointing because now I want you, when you watch this story, I want you to understand this. The people who did this to this young girl who won, basically she won the California International Federation. She won the California State 400 meters championship, right? Which meant this girl is fast. She is a sophomore in high school and won the 400 girls 400 meters as a sophomore in high school. Now, she had a celebration, and in that celebration, because of her celebration, she was disqualified. So in other words, they took her medal, they wouldn't let her get on the podium, and they disqualified her from even running in the next race. And wait till you see this, wait till you see the celebration, what she got punished for doing. Check it out.
I worked so hard for that title.
The greatest moment of 16-year-old Clara Adams' young career taken away from her because of a celebration. After winning the 400-meter event at the CIF State Championships with a time of 53.24 seconds, her dream of winning a state title went up in flames after celebrating using a fire extinguisher.
When she blew the fire extinguisher, the opponents were gone. That was our moment of celebration, and the CIF officials made that about them. The crowd went crazy. They loved it. The booth, CIF booth went crazy. They loved it. But those few guys in those jackets, they took offense to it, didn't like it, and they made a decision based on emotions.
The North Salinas High sophomore grabbed a fire extinguisher from her father and coach and extinguished off her spikes. The CIF deemed her celebration unsportsmanlike, stripping her of her title. It's a celebration made famous by American sprint icon Maurice Green, who enjoyed her paying homage to him and thinks she should get her state title back.
When I heard, like, because it happened and then people just started calling me, oh, this girl who just won the 400 redid your celebration. I was like, huh, what? If it was away from everyone and not really interfering with anybody, I would say reinstate her.
One clear infraction was Clara's father hopping the railing onto the track after the race, but says he only did that because of how CIF officials were treating his daughter.
There's a CIF rule saying you can't come over the wall, you can't be on the infield, which is a rule respected. But at this point, I explained before about being a coach and a father wearing the different hats. I saw an official grab my daughter by the arm. They were yelling in her face. When he grabbed her by the arm, I went over the wall at that point. I'm father now. I'm not coach anymore. I'm over the wall.
Now, the true fastest 400-meter runner in the state is back home without a medal. And even if the CIF is to reinstate her as the champion, she never got that moment of being crowned a champion.
Even if everything goes in my favor, in regards to like getting my title back, I'll still never get that moment back, like standing on the podium as a sophomore. I'll never get that back because they took it from me.
Clara was also disqualified from competing in the 200-meter race because of that celebration. And we did some research, analyzed 20 years of state championships, found 0 other times where someone was disqualified and stripped of a title for unsportsmanlike conduct. We reached out to the CIF, haven't heard anything back. We also put up a poll on our Instagram, Dan, asking our viewers if they believed she should have been banned for this or not. Over 1,000 votes and counting, 87% of people saying she shouldn't have been banned.
Say she shouldn't have. Now, these are the same folks who allowed males to compete in sports. This is that allowed a male high jumper, triple jumper, long jumper to basically compete with girls. So I'm livid. I'm like, wait, so she copied what an Olympic champion did and they called it unsportsmanlike?
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous what they did to this young lady. First off, Craig, listen, I understand they have an unsportsmanlike conduct rule. Okay, well, I could see if she's doing this on the podium or standing in the middle of all the losers. She didn't. she got the the fire extinguisher from her dad, and clearly they must have thought about this ahead of time in a way to honor Green or just to to praise her finish. She went over into the grass away from everybody else and gave her shoes a quick squirt. Okay. Green did it in the middle of the track, so they had to clean that up afterwards, right? They didn't do that. She went into grass, gave her a little spurt, and that was done. And before she'd even squeezed the second one, they were all over her there. And as far as dad coming over the railing there, listen, you grab my daughter by the arm, you start yelling at her ear, yanking around like that, we can have more than words. I'm telling you that right now.
Oh no, they were lucky they didn't catch hands. They were lucky they didn't, because if they had grabbed my daughter like that,
yeah.
Oh, I would have. Let's put it this way: I would have grabbed them.
Yeah, I would have used that fire extinguisher for other purposes.
Yeah, I would have made it very, very clear. I'm like, if they said something, I was like, look, I'm sorry. You grab my child, I grab you.
Yeah.
If it's wrong for me to grab you, then it's wrong for you to grab my child.
That's it.
Keep your hands to yourself.
That's it. Exactly right. Yeah, ridiculous. And like you said, even if they reinstate this one, she's still out the 200 meter.
Yeah, I'm hoping that there are some attorneys out there that will find it in their hearts to work with them to sue these folks, because I think CIF is a bunch of cowards. I think that they're politically correct peons, and they need to be taken down a peg. And I would love to see them lose a bunch of money. Now, I would love to see the officials themselves sued personally. Whoever the dude was who grabbed her. If in fact, what he probably should do is call the police and have him charged with battery.
There you go. Yep, I could see that. I would go for that.
Child abuse.
There you go.
Anyway, she's a sophomore, so she's going to have 2 more shots at that, and I am looking forward to her making them feel bad. Next time, I hope she does it on the podium.
Oh, she runs with the fire extinguisher next time.
Oh yeah, just throw it at them.
Yep.
All right, folks. Well, that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. You might have recall, I think it was sometime last month, President Trump talked about reopening Alcatraz. Well, here's a little gentleman on Gutfeld commenting, giving kind of his perspective on why Trump would do something, and kind of what the I don't want to say fallout, but what the response would be. There you go. That's what we'll go for.
That's why I think Trump went in and opened Alcatraz. It's no more El Salvador in prison. It's going to go to Alcatraz. He's going to rename it Bar-Lago. and you know what? It's going to be a beautiful jail, Greg. It's going to be a wonderful jail. They're going to love my jail. Let me tell you, the inmates love my jail. The inmates, you know what the inmates say to me, Greg? The inmates, when their sentence is up, they say, I don't want to leave, I want to stay. I say, stay. I don't want you to leave. You know what the prison guards tell me?
Good stuff.
That is good stuff. That is definitely good stuff. Now, a lot of conversations being made about the auto pen, about the President Biden's use of the auto pen. For those of you who are just listening to the program, you're not going to get this, but well, you may get it. But this is going to be the response when Biden's auto pen pardons actually wind up being voided.
How's she going down?
I've seen that video, that AI video used a couple of different plays, but that I thought was the most appropriate use of it.
Fauci going down. He's going to be in jail and get plenty of injections there.
Oh, yes, he is. Oh, yes, he is. Just, Mr. Fauci, why don't you go ahead and bend over?
We got another vaccine for you.
All right. Now, this next one, well, everybody's talking about the big, beautiful bill and how it's going to cut and how poor people are going to be heard and how it's going to cut welfare, yada, yada, yada. Well, here's a take from an individual comedian who, well, let's just say, as he said, he's not afraid of welfare.
You know, people that go to work, welfare doesn't scare us, right? Like, because I've seen people on social media crying, like, oh my God, they're taking my welfare. right? They're like panicking, and I'm thinking, they're going like, what am I gonna do? Right? And I'm watching on the phone going like, I got an idea, this is a shot in the dark. Fucking job, Listen, I don't want to be rude, but if there's any people on welfare here tonight, leave. Look, man, if you had welfare when you were a kid, I get it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I had friends that were on welfare and then became fucking super successful, but it's meant to help you, It's not a career, I wish I would have got on welfare. I mean, we grew up poor as but my mom she was one of those Mexican ladies where like, that, we ain't getting nothing free, right? Yeah, you're clapping, but I was hungry, fucker.
Craig, I wish I'd done it. Listen, if I had gotten on welfare all them years back, I could have retired from it by now.
But I know it's a joke, but for some people, welfare is a career. It's not just a career. It's a business that's passed down from generation to generation.
Yep,
it's a family business.
Thank you, LBJ. Yep.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Anyway, war on poverty. We're losing. Anyway. All right, folks, that's going to be about it for today. But before we go, we got one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
That's right. Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR in the past couple of years, probably got one of their barrels, don't even know it. Well, now you can buy from them factory direct. Get on over there and get pistol caliber, rifle caliber, any length you desire and any length you need. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, EMS, fire, whatever it may be, get your group together, get your agency together. Make a purchase over at uscombatgear.com, where you get everything except a gun.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment, visit our sponsors by following the links in the description to this program. Go there, spend some money, and let them know that it was the guys over at the Rundown that sent you. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a day. We will be back tomorrow on Throat Punch Thursday. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and we will see you mañana.